I'm your host, Sheldon Alexander, and we're coming off a Monday pod in which we went 3-4 against the spread, but we're still kicking at 22-15 overall in the play-in/playoffs. Combine that with a 34-19-1 record overall for the NBA picks, things are still rolling. But to the Western Conference, where there are no Clippers because they didn't make it. We got the Nuggets and Warriors. Warriors win that series 4-1. They win in game 5, 102-98. They do not cover the 9-point spread, but that's okay. Only series in the West that is done. The Warriors will play the winner of Minnesota and Memphis. Speaking of Minnesota and Memphis, that series is now at 3-2. And that's off a win, which was a crazy game 5. Can't even emphasize that enough. I don't have enough crazies to emphasize how insane that game was. But 111 to 109, they did not cover the 6-point spread. I was on Memphis in that game, but it's okay. The lesson here, though, was the initial take from the start of the series, right? It was like Minnesota can keep this game spicy. And the one thing that's funny is they've definitely kept this series spicy. The weirdest part to me is that they could be winning this series and probably could have won this series if Minnesota had any type of discipline at all. But either way, that brings us to game 6, which is Friday in Memphis. Grizzlies favored by 1. And I think I'm going, that has to be in Minnesota, right? Yeah, Game 6 is in Minnesota. My bad. But the Grizzlies are favored by 1 in Minnesota, and I think they end it. I mean, I'm going to go with Memphis here at the -1. I just think Minnesota's had enough of their chances, and I can't take them to cover 1 point when all I've seen them do is just blow leads in this entire series.
Right. Yeah. And listen, this is why, I shouldn't say this is why, as if we knew this, it was that predictable, but, we had over 5.5 total games, right? So we end up getting there when that series went 2-2. And then we grabbed the Grizzlies series price after they lost game 1. Why did we do that? Because of the shot quality numbers, right? And it won't always sort of lead you to a bet. There was, the Warriors game last night that you referenced. Shout out to them for closing that out. We talked about needing them to close it out as soon as possible, betting the -1.5 at even money and the -2.5 at +190. So we end up throwing another 3.9 units from that series. Remember we were on the Warriors in game 1 as the only bet for the game to game there. So, now we're up over 6 units for the 3 series that are done, just, getting the accounting out of the way. But the point is with the Grizzlies and the Timberwolves, we've cashed that. We grabbed the Memphis series price after they lost because of the shot quality numbers. And it happened again, but this time at least they didn't lose the game. All 3 games in Memphis, 90% or better win probability based on the shot quality numbers, right? The Memphis Grizzlies are just not making shots in order to cover some of these numbers, or obviously in the case of game 1, win the game at all. Now, good news is losing that game 1 led us to the bet on the Grizzlies series price, and we are now sitting quite pretty on that. The series price for Memphis, of course, is -650, with them just needing to win one of the next 2 games and having that cushion of a game 7 as well. So I don't need to bet on Memphis in game 6, and I can just sort of sit back and watch and go, yeah, it'd be really nice if Memphis just closed this out and we cashed our series, our live series price and move on with our lives. The one thing I'll say about the Memphis point spread here is they've been 2.5 point favorites in the first 2 games on the road. Now they are just a 1 point favorite. So you are getting some theoretical value there, right? So, I mean, what has Minnesota done to have this point spread sort of dip? And the answer is obviously win a couple of games and be competitive in that game 5. But again, from a shot quality standpoint, 4 of the 5 games have been 90% plus, with 1 game being a 50-50 type of a game from a shot quality standpoint. So, again, we can't predict whether Memphis is actually going to make their shots because it was a 3-point and free throw debacle in the last game. One last thing. Anthony Edwards, right? Looks, when he's healthy, it looks awesome, blah, 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 blah. But he's going for the steal on that last play to John Morant, right? And that's not something that you're going to see in the box score, right? John Morant's going to get credit for 2 points in the box score. and Anthony Edwards is going to sort of be let off the hook there statistically. That can't happen, right? Ja Morant can get the ball, outside the 3-point line, and you'll take your chances with, basically under 3 seconds left when he'd catch the ball. You take your chances with what happens there.
Just undisciplined, right?
Yeah. And the 3-pointer, like, that's the stuff that's going to be on the highlight, right? Like, Anthony Edwards hits the 3 to tie it, but then he gives it right back with that gamble. That's the discipline that you're talking about, right? And that's the thing that I'd be worried about with the T-Wolves if I was looking to back the T-Wolves in game 6 in a situation that, again, a series that feels like maybe it should go 7 based on how competitive it has been. That's the thing that I would be worried about when looking to bet in game 6 on the idea that it should go to 7 games.
Yeah, totally agree there. And a situation where Anthony Edwards asks to guard Ja Morant on that last play and then does that. It's like, wah, wah. But still a great series. And although I am on the Grizzlies to win and hope that they win, because obviously that's the pick, I wouldn't be mad at seeing a game 7 of this series because it's just been a lot of fun.